I need to ask you a question. Be curious, Drifters.
Amelia's Jewel hits the front. Emma Shaw is coming right away for Damien Oliver. Bella Nipotina, and boy, doesn't she deserve this.
The Giga Kick's got a strong kick.
Golden Mile, soar out the mile. I'm thunderstruck over the top. Mr. Brightside has won the mile.
And Militarised blows them away in the Champagne Stakes. And she's a class act, pulling right away, Prowess. And Zoo Gotcha won it by 2.5.
Zaki joined by Animo, who looks Destiny in the face.
This episode, we're shaking things up a bit. Fair to say?
Definitely, yeah. I think it's about time that two of the greatest minds in horse racing actually put them to good use. And it's something that's discussed all the time. We discuss it all the time, but we haven't actually sat down, put the effort in and dissected things and given, a solution, really, because you can whinge and bitch and moan as much as you like. If you're not coming up with a solution, then really what good are you?
And what you're talking about is the scheduling of Group 1 races in this great country. And so we've gone away, we've done the hard yards, and we've come up with what I feel is something that we're going to forward on to Racing Queensland, Racing New South Wales, and Racing Victoria, and potentially...
Not the other states?
Potentially the other states as well.
Potentially.
So you can kick us off here because we'll eventually get to a very quick Winterbottom Stakes preview, but I think it kind of warrants the conversation, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think
it's when Overpass is your $2.70 favourite, where he started double figures in Everest and was finished third last in that race. It kind of speaks to where the state of Group 1 racing is.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, it is a very fitting race to follow this discussion that we're going to have. Like, Winterbottom, it's got a long tail, the Winterbottom. Like, you could almost say it's got a long bottom.
Neville.
It's got a Neville.
It's got a Neville long bottom.
It's got a Neville long bottom, the Winterbottom. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. Very, very long tail. So, yeah, it's basically Drifters. There's a lot of things that have got the G1 tag in this country that we just don't think deserve it. So we've gone away and we've had a look at the scheduling. We've had a bit of a thought process on my side was just going month to month and sort of looking at it that way. We've got more than like 70 G1s, then like a plethora of pop-up races.
Yep.
Right? I think a couple of the pop-up races do deserve to be upgraded to G1 status. That's discussed in here. If you're watching on YouTube, I've done a fucking full-length assignment for this. Actually bringing some notes to the podcast, which is a nice change.
Interesting.
So I've gone month to month, starting with January.
All right.
So there's no G1s in January, but it's got the Magic Millions Carnival, which is brilliant, but I don't think any of those races need to be elevated to G1 status.
Absolutely not. I agree. No G1s in January. Too early.
But also, like the $3 million Magic Millions, it's awesome because it links in with the sales from the previous year, and it also gives racing something to be interested in the off-season.
It's the perfect kickoff.
Yeah, perfect. 100%. Moving to Feb.
Yes.
So we're technically still in the summer, but heading towards the autumn. I've got 3 Group 1s in Feb, but I'm not set in stone for what those G1s to specifically be there. I haven't really looked at the schedule too much from a timing perspective. Drifters, it's more of a, does this deserve to be a Group 1?
Yeah, okay. I've got 2.
Okay. So the CF4 and the Futurity. Why do we have 2 Group 1s over 1,400 metres within the space of a couple of weeks at Caulfield?
No idea.
Doesn't make any sense. Combine them. Don't know if it'll be then called the CF4 or the Futurity, or be the CF Futurity or it'll be called something completely different. Combine them. I'm still happy to have a 1,400 metre Group 1 at Caulfield because I think it's really unique.
Okay.
Combine the prize money. I think they're both worth $750. Make it 1.25 and the other one a Group 2, as a lead up, right? So I'm happy to keep one of those at the end of Feb as a Group 1. And we often discuss when we are looking at a preview of a 1,400 metre Group 1 race, some horses are just cherry ripe at that distance. I don't know why. They're not quite a miler.
Yep.
1,200 metres, they're just doing their best work at the end. They need the 1,400 metres.
Yeah.
So I think we do need a G1 that sort of helps those horses.
Yeah, I I think the timing of it needs to be around the futurity.
I'm not set on the timing, but I think the
Yeah.
futurity timing is better.
But what I was looking at all the distances, right?
Yeah,
The 1400 meters was one where I culled the majority of them.
I culled a lot.
Like, because I really couldn't see, I don't really see the point in them, to be honest.
No,
It's the kicking off Group 1 or the CF4 and the Memsey. The Memsey is a kicking off race for stayers.
Yep.
At least it used to be.
Yep.
And now it's a cheap Group 1. Like, Jack got his way for age Group 1 early on, bang.
I thought he was CF4.
Yeah, but either one or the other.
I know what you mean.
You know, so I actually culled both of them because I just don't really see the point of them because they have such bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I took that ethos into a lot of the culling, but I think I've left a couple of 1400 meter Group 1s, but I'm also of the opinion that something that's unique, you try and keep it a little bit as well, and I think that's unique to Caulfield. So
okay. And so the remaining ones are the Lightning, 1,000 meters way for age down the straight. The Blue Diamond and the Oakley Plate.
Oakley Plate gone for me. Look, I think Group 2, handicap 1,100 meter sprint race, sweet. You know what I mean? Like, if you're heading from that into a new market, cool. And we'll talk about that more later. If you're using that as a kickoff point to get into a better race, like a TJ, I don't know, but I'm happy to scrap that. I think you keep the Lightning. 1,000 meters down the straight. We don't have a stack of Group 1s over 1,000 meters, and 1,000 meter horses are different gravy to 1,200 meter horses.
See, I've kept the Oakley Plate and I've kept the Lightning. I've buggered off the Blue Diamond, which we'll get to, but the Oakley Plate is the only 1,100 meter handicap race I have for the year.
Yeah, but I've coloured a lot of handicap races, mate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I still think it's a great race, but I don't think it needs to be a Group 1. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I've kept the Blue Diamond because reason being it's the only 2-year-old Group 1 in Victoria. There's only 2 outside of New South Wales for Group 2s, for 2-year-olds, Group 1s. So I look back at the history of it, and it's like, there's been some dodgy winners of the Blue Diamond, but I think from a commercial perspective, when you're looking at stallions like a Dormier, who's won the Group 1 Blue Diamond as a 2-year-old, he's not going to be a super commercial stallion prospect anyway. And I think that the cream gets, the cream rises to the top and it gets sorted out at a later point. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Do you get what I'm saying?
I think so. And I'm shooting from the hip here big time. But if you were to look at recent winners, or not necessarily winners, like the winners haven't necessarily gone on to be big things, but the placings in those Blue Diamonds have been pretty decent. Animo placed in a Blue Diamond. So I think that's probably the way to view that race.
Yeah.
I've culled it just because
I wasn't like, this needs to be a G1, but the way I was thinking about it was,
like, because the way I viewed it is like the Golden Slipper is the best 2-year-old race on earth. Yeah. And the Blue Diamond winners have a abysmal record in that race.
Yeah.
You can only set them for one.
Yeah.
So I just want the best field.
Yeah.
That's how I've kind of viewed things.
No, I completely understand that viewpoint.
So 1 month down, I'll have the Lightning Stakes and the Oakley Plate. What do you have?
I have the Lightning, the Blue Diamonds, and either the Futurity or the CF4. Combine them.
Right.
Yeah.
So with
the
one
CF4 Turity.
Did you count up how many you actually had?
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you now?
Yeah.
So I've got 42 in total.
All right. I have 40.
42. I've got 19 in Victoria, 18 in New South Wales. How funny is that? And 5 in Queensland.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Which is going to be... Anyway.
Right.
So moving on to March.
Yep.
So I've got 7 Group 1s in March.
Okay. Just let me look what my final one is here, and I'll do some spreadsheet magic.
And this is going to be a common theme that you'll see through mine drifters. a lot of those 3-year-old fillies races across the autumn and the spring, the Group 1s, I've culled them. And my logic behind that was why the fillies are allowed to go to the Guineas.
Yep.
Which are usually, for the colts and geldings, and it's not the other way around. And the best fillies going up against the best colts and geldings, like I want to see that. And for those stud people out there, the breeders, whatever, if a filly beats your colt, then your colt doesn't deserve to go to stud anyway, because the best colts should be putting away the fillies.
And the best example of this, and the only time we see it for the year, is the Coolmore.
The Coolmore. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So why don't we apply that to a lot of our Guineas races and those races that are specific to fillies, 3-year-old fillies? Like, no.
I think it's still important for the Australian industry, though. So I've given them 4 opportunities for fillies to win against their own sex throughout the year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
See, I've just like if you're a good enough filly, like I even think fillies with black type is good enough.
Yep.
Like for example, so the Surround Stakes is why I bring up the point. So I've demoted that to a G2. It's 1,400 meters, right, at Randwick. If you're a filly and you beat up on your own age group as a 3-year-old in a Group 2 like that, it's like, well, clearly you're the best of your age group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At that specific time.
Yeah.
I still think that looks great on the CV from a breeding perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've demoted the Surround Stakes.
I like the Surround because it's like there's so much build up to it already. They're all at like their 3rd or 4th run by that stage of the prep. Because you have some of them probably kicking off in a Magic Millions carnival, and then they're going right throughout to a that Surround Stakes. So it's like they finish their prep early. They're there. That's their grand final.
Yeah, I agree. But see, I've put my hat on as if in a perfect world, Victoria and New South Wales got along, and they basically sat down and said, what are we going to do that gives every horse the opportunity to go between each state? So I think the Australian Guineas can act as that. 1,600 metre, could even be a 1,400 metre race. You could even change it to for the fillies and the colts and the geldings for the 3-year-olds specifically in the autumn.
Right.
And that means that the Randwick Guineas is going to be moved to spring for me.
Okay.
I'll have more on that later and what that actually means for other 3-year-old features in the spring. But so the Australian Guineas for me is the 3-year-old 1,600 metre race in the autumn. When that's actually going to be raced, it's in March.
Yeah.
Is it going to be later on, earlier on? I'm not sure, but that's what I've got. So it's still a G1 for me.
I kept the Randwick Guineas and I flicked off the Australian Guineas just because the Caulfield Guineas to me is a better race.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I had one for each state.
I agree.
Autumn and spring.
I agree. But I've sort of shifted the Randwick Guineas around a little bit.
That's fine.
So the George Ryder and the Chipping Norton.
Yep.
So, and this is starting to get a bit confusing because you're jumping between Rose Hill and Randwick. The George Ryder's over 1,500 metres, and it's later on in the autumn. The Chipping Norton's over a mile, but it's earlier on. And you're seeing the lights of, like, good example this year was Animo come back to the 1,500 metres and then go back up to 2,000 metres.
Yep.
Like, do we need a George Ryder to be a Group 1 at 1,500 metres?
I don't have it in there.
I don't.
No.
I've got the Chipping Norton. Just have it earlier on.
Yeah.
Have that as the G1.
Yeah. The issue is for scheduling, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's where, because I believe it would be the last meeting before the championships that the Chipping Norton would be on, and the George Ryder would be on Slipper Day, right?
Yeah. So why can we have the George Ryder run at Rose Hill instead of Randwick?
So it's just the 1,500 metres. I don't know about can they run 1,600 at Rose Hill? I'm assuming that's like the issue.
Yeah. So make it 15. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
We don't need both races.
No.
Yeah.
I agree. I flicked off the... Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, get it out of here. So what else you got?
Newmarket's G1.
Yeah.
Great race.
Of course.
Phenomenal race.
Yeah.
Down the straight, Flemington.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Can't pick the winner.
No. Don't get rid of it. Canterbury Stakes demoted to a G2.
Yep.
1,300 metres sprint. Don't need it.
Nope.
Coolmore Classic demoted.
Yep, not
G2.
in there. Not in there. So that's for the Fillies and Mares.
1,500
right?
metres.
Handicap, I believe.
Yes.
Fillies and Mares, yep.
Yes. Ranvit demoted to a Group 2.
Yep, I don't have it in there either.
But I still think it's an important race to have. Galaxy demoted to a Group 2. Handicap, 1,100 metres.
Yeah, if my theory is I want one crack at the apple.
You've got the Oakley plate.
I have the Oakley plate.
Slipper obviously is a G1.
Yep.
Like, no way I'm changing that. Rosehill Guineas keepers a G1. And the way I'm thinking about it is, okay, you've got the Australian Guineas a few weeks beforehand, and those that want to step up to 2,000 metres, they can at the Rosehill Guineas.
Yep.
Australia Cup, I think, keepers a G1. And for those Victorian horses being aimed at a Queen Elizabeth or at a Tancred potentially, that can be a potential lead-up run. Maybe move it earlier on in March. I'm not 100% sure.
So this is the thing. I don't like lead-up runs.
Yeah.
I want grand finals.
Yeah.
So I scrap the Australia Cup.
The Australia Cup, yeah.
Like probably hundreds of years of history as well.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. We're not living in the past.
No.
We're trying to carve out the future.
So so you're keeping the Golden Slipper, you're keeping the Rosehill Guineas, you're keeping the Australia Cup. I'm flicking it. William Reid, did you flick that?
Demoted to a Group 2, yeah.
I flicked it as well.
Yep.
Yep.
Vinery Stud. If my theory with the Fillies races applies to those 1,600 metre races, I'm applying it to the Vinery Stud too, because it's 2,000 metres and the Rosehill Guineas is 2,000 metres.
I did the same thing, typically because the Rosehill Guineas is such a small field.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
If you got a good staying filly, send it there.
Absolutely.
And if she beats up on the boys, so be it.
It happens in the spring in the Spring Champion.
Exactly.
Montefiore won a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
And then I believe the last one's the Tancred.
Tancred, keep it. I love
Absolutely.
it. 2,400 metres, Group 1, wait for age.
Yeah.
Keep it, 100%.
100%.
And that's so you're taking the Ranvid away from Rose Hill, but you're giving him the Tancred. They're keeping that. And I like the Tancred as well before the Queen Elizabeth, because you see horses all the time who do well in the Tancred come back to 2,000 metres for the Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's 7 G1s for me in total in March.
I think I have the same with a couple of
differences.
Yep. So, 7 for me as well. So, for April, whips are cracking in April.
April's 9 G1s for me. There's a lot.
9. I have 8.
Yeah.
I think I know the one I've missed.
Okay. TJ, yeah, 100%.
Yes.
It's the Autumn Everest.
Yep.
So keeping that. Whilst I've kept the fillies, I've combined the fillies and Colts and Geldings 3-year-old races together. I've split them apart when we're getting to the Derby and the Oaks.
Yes, so have I.
So Australian Derby, yes, still a G1. Size Produce, yes, G1, 1,400 metres for 2-year-olds.
I flicked it. Just because in recent years, I think of the horses that win the sires, they typically win the Champagne. Does it add that much to their CV?
I like it because every time you watch the Golden Slipper, there's hard luck stories, and I like giving those 2-year-olds who run well in the Slipper another chance to grab the G1 as a 2-year-old over 1,400 metres. That's why I like it. Animo
Yeah, but he
comes to mind.
He spanked him in the Champagne, didn't he? Or didn't he go there?
Didn't go there. So I think you typically see the ones go to the 1,400 metres, and if they get the win there, that's it. They go to the paddock. Or if they fail or whatever, that's it. They go to the paddock. But you get to see him again. You know what I mean? And I think that's important for those 2-year-olds.
Yeah. Okay. I flicked it, but I could. I'm on the fence about it.
Yeah. I gotcha. Doncaster Mile, yeah, great, phenomenal race.
Why wouldn't you?
Phenomenal race.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Keep it. Queen of the Turf, Group 2.
I have it as that opportunity for the fillies to go up against the mares at weight for age.
Yes, I understand that.
Yep.
So I understand that.
But I do acknowledge that it could take away from, say, a Doncaster or a Chipping Norton as well.
Yes.
But yeah, it is what it is.
Australian Oaks G1.
Actually, in an ideal world, I think what I'd do, I would change the Chipping Norton to the end of like the carnival And it's like, you're risking like all the Queen Elizabeth horses not going there.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I wouldn't do that.
Yes, I thought the exact same thing.
Okay, I won't do that.
Yeah. It's a full-on assignment, guys.
I know.
Drifters, this is an assignment.
It's a game of chess.
Yeah, it is. Australian Oaks G1.
Yeah.
Like you give the autumn
Yep.
3-year-olds their chance
Yep.
for the fillies. Queen Elizabeth, it's like the Cox Plate of the autumn, so obviously it's a G1.
Yep.
Sydney Cup, keep it.
Yes.
Keep it to G1.
I agree.
It's not as strong as the Melbourne Cup, but if we only have 2 3,200 metre handicap Group 1s, I'm happy with that.
What's the harm?
There's no harm.
There's no harm. They're not going to start anyway.
Exactly.
It's a war of attrition.
It is.
3 minutes, 20 seconds of absolute warfare.
I love it.
I love to see it.
And the Brisbane Cup's a Group 2, and that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Good on you, Celino.
Yeah.
Keeping the all-age stakes.
I flicked the all age.
I like it because I like it as a kick-off point for winter form, but also like it as a Giga Kick phenomenal example post TJ. And again, it gives those 1,400 metre horses another chance.
Yeah, that's where I've kind of used other states as these weird and funky distances. I feel like the other states can get involved and they be the features at those distances.
Gotcha. But I'm not, all age for me has to be a G1. It was I can justify why it is.
Yep.
And the Champagne Stakes.
I had the Champagne as well.
1,600 metres group, 2-year-old Group 1.
Right, so I think the only changes there is you have the size as a Group 1, you have the all age as Group 1, you don't have the Queen of the Turf, but I do.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into May. Now this will be interesting.
So May, I've only got 2 Group 1s. Get rid of the entire Adelaide Carnival. Honestly, not a single one of those races can justify to me being a Group 1.
I have no Group 1s in May.
None.
And so, and I was kind of, what I was jotting down before, and I was looking at my Group 1s that I have throughout the year, right? And I think it's the appropriate time to kind of talk to it. I have 3 handicap sprints and I have 6 weight for age sprints throughout the year, which are Group 1 status. I think this is, and of those handicap sprints, I think there's 1 Oakley Plate, there's the Newmarket and the Stradbroke, obviously. So I think there is the opportunity to kind of reinvent one of our oldest races in the Goodwood.
Yep.
So whether that's a 1,100 metre weight for age race or a 1,000 metre handicap, could you imagine that? I reckon you'd even get some of these absolute nutcase 2-year-olds go there that are just fly out the gates and go. I reckon I would potentially, I don't have the Goodwood in there. I have nothing in May, but I feel like that's where we can utilise Adelaide is to fill those gaps just of something outside the box.
100%, yeah. I was thinking that as well. If we're getting rid of Group 1 status for all their races, then what are they going to do to justify having one? Because as it stands right now, nothing does.
No.
Nothing does. And on face value,
the most notable winner they've had in recent years is Russian Camelot.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Their group and Santa Ana Lane winning a Goodwood.
Scholes won a Sangster, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, no. So I think it's a pretty abysmal carnival, not going to lie. But in May, I've got the Doomben 10,000 and the Doomben Cup.
See, I've given them a berth, and that's where I've kind of gone with my theory, having different distances in different states. So I did have the Doom 10,000 in there, but then I kind of flicked it off, and I was like, you know what? Queensland's going to feature with the Kingston Smith over 1,300 at weight for age at Doomben, and then the Q22 upgrading that at 2,200 metres, only 2,200 metre Group 1 over the year.
Yeah, which is why when we sort of briefly spoke about this last week, I was like, the Q22 can be upgraded, which I have. So I've got 3 Group 1s in June.
Yep.
And they're all going. So, by the way, scheduling wise, put Doomben 10,000, Doomben Cup on the same day.
I know.
And just have a bumper day in Doomben.
Yep.
Because it's not the greatest
undercut
structure there. Undercut. June, so 3 Group 1s. Stradbroke, obviously. JJ, and the Q22.
Yep.
I think the Q22 would be a phenomenal Group 1.
Yep.
I really do. Bump up the prize money, all that sort of stuff. Stradbroke, form race of the year. JJ, one of only 2 Group 1s for 2-year-olds outside of New South Wales.
I'd bump it up to 2,000 metres.
Would you?
Yep.
My only concern is with the 2-year-olds, is there a specific reason why they don't have it at 2,000 metres? Because like none of them can get it.
Potentially. But I think we learn pretty quick, like who your derby prospects are as a 3-year-old, or who you can target towards a Cox Plate like immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. But yeah, so that means the Kingston Smith Cup, Group 2.
Yep.
Derby and Oaks, Group 2s.
Yeah, I've kind of left out my reasoning for the Derby is Kovalica was a sensational winner. Great. Probably the first Queensland Derby winner in recent years not to be sold to Hong Kong.
Yep.
That's the main thing. Is like basically the money is so vast from the Hong Kong connections is that we never see these horses again. There's no point.
No point.
Gypsy Goddess is one of your girls winning at Queensland Oaks.
Yeah, so did Winks.
Yeah.
But like there's a lot of other horses in between that didn't do that well from winning the race. Jewess won it.
Yep.
So there are some good ones in there. But look, for every good one, there's a shocker.
Yep. And then we've both given a leave to the Tats Tiara.
Yeah, it's not a Group 1 race, man. Not at all.
It's just the last crack at the crack at the cherry. I keep wanting to say that. I don't know why.
Don't know.
All right.
July, no G1s.
No.
August, I've got no G1s.
So we've flicked the Winks.
Winks, no. Yeah.
No, yeah.
It's a kick-off point.
Yep.
Make it a Group 2.
I agree.
Make it a Group 2.
I agree.
September, I've got 2
Oh,
Group 1s.
So you've covered a fair bit here.
I have.
I've got 3.
So the Memsies are Group 2.
Yep.
The Maccabi Diva Group 2,
Same.
1,600 metres.
Yep.
Golden Rose G1.
Yes.
Has to be.
Yep.
I've moved the Underwood to October and combined it with the Might and Power. Both run at Caulfield, but call it whatever you want, but make it an 1,800 metre race. Lead up to a Cox Plate, 1,800 metres at Caulfield Group 1.
Yep.
I like that because it's 1,800 metres, a bit different.
And I'm assuming you're flicking the Turnbull as well.
Yeah, don't like it.
Yep.
Don't like it. Set weights and penalties.
There's like 3 or 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Or there's like 3 Group 1s in 4 weeks over 2,000 metres in Melbourne. Doesn't make sense,
Doesn't
right?
make any sense to me.
Leading up to a Cox Plate.
Which is the only one that matters, really.
Yeah.
The Moore and Manikato, I was sort of thinking, I was like, how do they regain relevancy? Because the Everest isn't going anywhere. Do you combine them, call it whatever, and make it a 1,000 metre weight for age Group 1? And you can, so the 1,000 metre horses can have their chance at a Group 1, but you can also have an elite field of sprinters who we know are going to go to the Everest or are going to try and win their way into an Everest and have it before the Everest, and therefore you don't have both the Moore and Manikato.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So maybe have that in September or October leading into an Everest.
Yep.
That's what I was sort of thinking.
Yep.
Flight Stakes, again, theory around 3-year-old fillies. Group 2, Epsom, Group 2.
What?
And the reason being, and the only reason being, is because you have the big Group 1 mile handicap race in the autumn, Doncaster for New South Wales.
Yeah.
And then Victoria gets the 2-rack.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why.
I saw that, but I would take the Epsom winners over the 2-rack winners every day
Yeah,
of the week.
I know. But then if there was no Epsom, would they go to the 2-rack? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they probably would.
Yeah, which is what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
They come together,
Right.
and like it pained me to do it, but I was like, I'm thinking, what's the best for the product?
Well-
like imagine a 2-rack with all the Epsom horses in it.
Yeah.
It'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, okay.
That's my justification.
Yeah.
But
Nah.
it pained me to do it.
I can understand that because I just put a line through the 2-rack straight away.
Yeah.
Right. Metropolitan? You're keeping that right?
Piss off. That's a Group 2 race.
In
I've
our-
never seen one.
In our Group 1 power rankings, I reckon that race is about 65th.
Yeah. It's low.
Yeah.
Like still like cool race.
Yeah,
but it doesn't need to be a Group 1.
like when the Caulfield Cup's the next week or 2 weeks away, it makes zero sense.
It makes no sense.
And it's like New South Wales don't even like that race. It's 750 grand per purse.
Exactly. When you know it's less than 7 figures in New South Wales, it doesn't need to be a Group 1.
So I had let me have a look here. I had 3 in September. I had Golden Rose. I had the Moir, kept the Moir. 1,000 metre way for age. Moonee Valley, I think it adds some interest.
Yeah.
And then I kept the Epsom.
Yeah. Yeah. So fair.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, all right.
I've got 8 in October.
Well, it depends when they actually kind of run.
Yeah, these can sort of interchange.
Right.
I've just looked at what the schedule looks like for this year.
All right. So basically, Derby Day is in November then.
Yeah, according to how I've done it.
Okay. All right. So you have how many? 7?
8 in October.
I have 6.
Okay.
This is our biggest discrepancy yet.
Turnbull Stakes is Group 2.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Caulfield Guineas is obviously a Group 1.
Group 1.
Toorak, Group 1.
Because
of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And this is where I've got does the Underwood run here or does it run in September? I'm not sure, just depending on scheduling. But the Might and Power Underwood combined, like 2 G1s that don't need to be G1s.
Yep. I like having it at 1800 though.
Yeah, so that's what maybe make the Might and Power 1800 metres and get rid of the Underwood.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Everest is obviously going to be promoted to a Group 1.
I agree.
Shit. The King Charlie. That's a Group 1 race if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
5 milli.
Yep. That's my big feature race mile race in the spring.
Agreed. Caulfield Cup, obviously, Group 1. And then I've got a note here about the Manikato and the Moir sort of combining. So if I was keep the Moir, get rid of the Manikato. That's how I'd play it. And then this is my theory about the Randwick Guineas. So you move the Randwick Guineas to spring, and you replace the spring championships.
Okay.
So there's no spring champion. It's just the Randwick Guineas over 2,000 metres.
Yeah, okay.
So you can go to a Caulfield Guineas and then you can either go to a Cox Plate if you're an absolute weapon, or you can go to that as like a bit of a consolation prize.
I like that.
And then obviously a Cox Plate.
Yeah. So I don't know which ones we disagreed on there. Because I only have the Caulfield Guineas, Everest, King Charles, Caulfield Cup, Spring Champion, Cox Plate.
Toorak.
And then a Randwick Guineas for you.
Yeah.
Oh, but you have this. I have the Spring Champion. I don't know.
So I've got the Caulfield Guineas, the Toorak.
Manikato maybe? Is that where you had that?
Yeah, so I had the Manikato. Maybe I was doubling up.
Okay.
So,
all right.
yeah.
Easy.
So, yeah. I'd prefer to have the Moir over the Manikato.
All right. So the rest of the year, so we'll call this November.
So we're looking at Derby Day.
Yeah.
Well, the Coolmore Stud is obviously going to be a Group 1.
Yeah. Rename it to Coolmore Stud Day.
Yes. Empire Rose, Group 2.
I have it as Group 2 as well.
Golden Eagle promoted to a Group 1.
I didn't.
You didn't?
And I'm a massive fan of the race. It's a sensational field each year. But limiting it to one age group.
They do it in Hong Kong.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And I think that's what makes it unique.
Yep.
Specific for 4-year-olds. I think it keeps some colts racing on maybe. I think it's phenomenal. And how often have we seen the winner of the Golden Eagle go on to be a great weight for age horse?
Yep.
So I think it's a phenomenal race.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Plus it's worth way more money than what it should be. Like it doesn't need to be worth that money. It could be worth 3 or 4 mil.
Yeah.
You know? It could be worth, anyway.
Yep.
Vic Derby, yes, Group 1.
Yes.
Has to be.
Yep.
Melbourne Cup, obviously. Lol.
Yep.
VRC Oaks, obviously.
Yep.
Group 1.
Yep.
Champion Stakes. I think you'll like this.
Yep.
Don't make it a 2,000 metre Group 1 weight for age. 2,500 metres.
25.
Same length as the Derby. And you have horses out of the the Cox Plate, who want to get out to further. Caulfield Cup, back up. If you don't want to go to a cup, quick back up from the Melbourne Cup.
Oof. Maybe even I'll make it 24 if you're doing that.
Yeah, but like 25, I think it just makes it a bit interesting.
Yeah, but that way, 25. I like the Tancred. There's no Tancred in the spring.
That's the Tancred
Yeah.
equivalent.
Yeah.
Extra 100 metres.
I kept all the champions races because I'm like, all right, the idea is like you've all had your grand final, but here's another crack at it.
Yeah.
So the Champions Stakes is one where I'm always like, eh. So maybe if you put it up to 2400, I do like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like 25 because keep it at the same length as the Derby and the Oaks. Yeah.
Okay.
I reckon it's a great idea. And it gives and that means we've only got 2 Group 1 weight for age events more than 2,000 metres in the country.
That will never happen.
No, it never happened.
Because
But one can dream.
Because that's getting into staying territory. And in the stud book, that doesn't look good.
It doesn't.
2,000 metres does, though.
It does.
Yeah.
But one can dream.
Yes.
And like things like a gold trip.
Yeah. Oh, perfect example.
Perfect. Incentivise would have been brilliant.
Yep. Well, he broke his leg.
VE.
Yeah.
Like,
well, actually, who could run in it is all these internationals coming
That's
over
what I
for
mean.
the only run in the cup.
that's what I mean.
I like that.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Because
You have you run in the cup and then you back up into this.
Because you can only, I don't know what the protocols are because you can only have one run before a Melbourne Cup if you're an international, West Wind Blows, for example. But then he was able to run in the Champions Stakes. But if they run the Cup first up and they come out of it fine and then go, I do like that.
But also, like, what about the weight for age champion stayers from Europe? Why would they ever come here? Because they're going to be weighted out of a cup.
Yeah.
Make this a tug race. Make it worth 4 or 5 mil. Way more than they've got.
Yeah, okay.
And it gives us that's a very unique race.
Yeah. It is.
Mm.
Do you have the sprints in the mile?
I have the sprints in the mile.
Yeah, okay.
I like the champions sprint. Because and the reason why I'm happy to have another grand final weight for age sprint race is because the quality is always there for us.
And Flemington.
And Flemington down the straight.
Yeah,
Bang.
it's a different element.
It is.
Yep.
Champions Mile, I think, it's like a King Charles, right? You're just giving them another crack.
Yep.
So that means that, the Rupert Clark Group 2, 1,000 guineas, my theory again.
Yep.
And the Railway Stakes falls in November this year, but it's a Group 2.
Winterbottom? Group 3?
Longbottom. So Longbottom and Northerly, they don't deserve to be Group 1s.
I have the Northerly as a Group 1. 1,800 metres.
800 metres.
Literally the only reason. You have those elite sprinter milers that are hoping to get the distance, and then you have the, those ones that were potentially targeting towards a Champions Stakes if it remains at the 2,000 metres, but unlucky they could get over to Perth just in time. Cascadian-like.
Yeah, I know, but someone like that, they've had ample opportunity all spring to win a Group 1 if they're good enough. You know what I mean?
Depends, though, how deep they went in a Queensland campaign, targeting towards like a Q22, last day of the carnival. They might have had a little cold, prowess-like.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, though. There's still, I just know.
So basically what we've done is we've not halved, but we've kept like 60%, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I think if we were to actually map out like the actual race days, I reckon that would be a bit of fun too, but I don't think we'll do that.
No, and it becomes really tricky when you're looking at how many weekends in a row do you want to be racing on this track and time between and all that sort of stuff. Like I appreciate that gets really tricky, but there's people smarter than us who've been in the industry a lot longer than us who can't seem to get around this.
I do like the Champions Stakes. It's just a shame it'll never happen.
It'll never happen. Never happen. This is the Declan Jones Group 1 calendar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they'll never get rid of the 3-year-old Group 1 fillies races. That'll never happen.
Yeah. So my summary was I had 12 Group 1s for the 3-year-olds. I had 4 Group 1s for the fillies only, including one against the mares. 6 sprinting Group 1s, 3 at handicap, 6 at weight for age, 3 2-year-old Group 1s, each at different distances, 6 mile Group 1s, including 2 handicaps, 3 Wait for Age, and then the Fillies and Mares race. 1 1,800 metres, 3 at 2,000, 1 at 2,200, 2 at 2,400, 1 at Wait for Age, 1 at handicap, and then the 2 miles.
Yeah.
2 miles.
Yeah.
And yours was pretty similar.
Pretty similar.
Pretty similar. All right. I liked that.
That's good.
That was good. All right. Shall we get on to the time-honoured Neville Longbottom States?
The Neville Longbottom.
Now, I've looked at this race a lot of different ways. And I said on my very own podcast last week that I wasn't going to be backing the Eastern Raider.
Yep.
But lo and behold, I am. I just don't think any of these are getting within 4 lengths of an Everest winner.
Even if he's 2 lengths below his best, which he might be this prep, I still think it's good enough. He wins this, mate, I think. And another thing about him is go through his history, and maybe he needs a bit more of a tighter turning track.
Yeah,
potentially. Like if we're looking at his form from earlier this year when he won the Quokka and he made Giga Kick work really hard to win at Doom 10,000. Oh, geez, he'd come out and win by 4 or 5 lengths. Nearly held off Private Eye in the shorts. Like, imagine that shorts field here.
Yeah.
What? And Everest run was disappointing.
Yeah.
Because I had him finishing top 6 at least.
Yeah.
Finished 10th of 12. Like, that's very disappointing. And I have no explanation for that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not right on the day.
Second up syndrome.
If you give a horse for a bad run.
Yep.
And if he turns up here, if he gets across, he's going to be incredibly hard to beat. Overpass. At Wait for Age against this lot. Like, who's next in the market? Triple Missile? Ripcord?
Yeah,
Ripcord?
Triple Missile is the wrong price.
It is the wrong price.
It is a disgustingly low price.
Horrific.
Cannot get involved with that.
No way. And then Ripcord, it's like, that win was
Great.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great.
But who the fuck is he beating up on?
He beat Oscar's Fortune, right? Now, Big Oscar has only won 4 times at the 1,000 metres. And that was at 1,200. So that horse can't even run out the 1,200.
They were going backwards. And he launched to get there, at the post. He's $6.50 with the good people at Neds.
Yeah.
And you're telling me you're getting $3.10 for an Everest runner against this lot?
Yeah.
Like, you're betting on him, hoping that he's somewhere near his best, because you cannot entertain anything else in this.
I am not as confident in him. I have a couple of others, and they are locals that I could entertain.
Sense.
There's 2. There's 2 other ones, right?
Is it at $151?
No, it's not Cobb. He's the third one. Hot Z is the one. So if you want to kind of like link this horse up to the likes of Overpass, you can do that through the Quokka. So this horse ran 1.1 lengths behind Overpass in the Quokka, and he was 60 to 1 that day, but he hasn't put in a bad run since. And his win in the lead up was absolutely sensational. But he was $13 there. Better suited on top of the ground instead of I think it was had a bit of jar out of the track in the Quokka. Barrier 2 scares me a bit for him. I don't know where he's going to get, because he does get back a little bit. The other one is, if you can forgive a horse for one poor run in Overpass, I can forgive My Bella May for just being flat against Hot Z in that race. She had every possible chance. Every possible. Had the gun run. Should have won.
Every possible.
Should have won. And when she's gone up to this level, she has failed. But now you're getting $18 about her. And her starting price profile is something to behold. So I think she's definitely one that can run into your top 3s, top 4s. And then the other one I had, who is a bit of a punt as well, is Snowdome. So $13 was last up run was about 4 or 5 weeks ago in the Prince of Wales. Absolutely just demolished them in that didn't actually, only just fell in. But Red Cam Man defeated that horse who, you know, you're getting $15 for that horse. But I don't know. I think this horse, second up, gap between runs is clearly grand final for that one. So barrier 18 stinks, though.
Stinky.
It sucks.
Stinky.
Of those three, I think Hot Z is definitely the danger.
He's the one local that if you wanted to take on Overpass, it'd be with him.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, Overpass as well. J Parr on top. Like, I don't really have that many concerns. I'll be playing a Quinella with Hot Z.
Hot and spicy Z.
Yeah.
Could have a meeting with the Colonel this weekend.
Hello. Again. Good for you, buddy. I'm not even giving the other ones any thought.
No.
We're just giving one and done.
Yeah, there's a few stakes races in Brisbane and in Melbourne, but not particularly interested in them.
No. Did Miramasa land up accepting in the zipping?
That's a good question, actually.
Let's have a look. Because I saw he was in the nominations. I don't know if he accepted. Because he would be going up against Big Vow.
He would be going up against Big Vow. Zipping Classic.
Let's have a look. Vow and Declare, Hueta, Amade.
Yes, he is in there.
All right. Ooh, interesting. Shock him over too.
He's drawn well.
Yeah.
Shock him over is a good horse.
I know it's hard to go past Big Miramasa, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not going to take him on.
Like, could Vow and Declare go back to back? He probably could.
He could. I think he could. Hueta.
Yeah. Yeah, Miramasa's the one. I
Miramasa's
think Shock
the
'em
one.
Over is definitely the one up and coming in that race.
I think so. I think Shock him over is a horse that, probably for next spring,
Yep.
he could be one who features, down in the weights in like a Caulfield Cup maybe.
Metropolitan.
Metropolitan, yeah. more accurate. But Miramasa's the one who's doing this. He's on an upward spiral.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Military Mission was one that we were giving a top 10 hope and ran 10th in the Melbourne Cup.
Yep.
Probably didn't run out the distance, so back to his preferred distance.
Yeah. I wonder why they're not running this at Sandown.
Don't know. I also just saw that. I was like, okay.
Interesting.
But, yeah, that's probably the only thing, really. I don't think Caulfield is necessarily Miramasa's track. I think he likes Flemington.
Yeah, he's still a bit of a naughty boy too. But it'd be 4 on the bounce, which is hard to do. Doesn't matter what grade you're in.
It is. And you're not getting a price for him anymore.
No, you're not.
We have. Not you. Maybe you. But we don't talk to you.
Well, maybe you try to get on in the futures markets for him next year in the Cup or the Caulfield Cup where he was misspelled.
Ridiculous.
It's bad, isn't it? I don't know where I saw that.
I wouldn't have been with Ned's.
No, definitely not.
No. All right. This is our second last episode of the year. Second last week, rather.
Yep.
Fourth last. But we're getting there. It'll be another quick review podcast. Luckily, we'll talk about some other stuff too.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me.
All right.
Sea Drifters.